YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the newly released P-Bandai exclusive or P-Bandai exclusive HG Build Gamma Gundam. Now this is basically one of those kits that comes out on the side story of Build Divers, so we never actually seen this in the anime yet. Maybe if you are a person who reads or collects one of those side story manga, you might have seen it. I never read those stuff yet, so yeah, I can't really tell you much, but obviously I really like the looks of this kit, so which is why I got this. Now, for those who are wondering, yes, I have the Rick Dias right over there, the HGUC version for comparison. If you're thinking it's a 100% copy, but in white, you are entirely wrong. The kit has actually, this is a more of a 1.5 version of the Rick Dias. They actually improved the articulation on the arms and legs regarding this kit. So this is a really interesting kit to try out. And for those who don't know, the Rick Dias is supposed to be a Gundam. Its code name is Gamma Gundam. So basically, this version is in Build Divers. There's a character named Onoko. Yeah, I think that's what this says. Onoko. Now this is the GBN character. This is a guy, but in the reality, the actual user / player is a female character. But either way, that character basically went with the concept of what if the Rick Dias had a more traditional Gundam look. So that's the concept of this kit. Alright, so let's get on to the review. So we're going to go with our usual components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Build Gamma Gundam. And then on the back, you can actually see that we still have the original beam pistols, the two of them right over here, and then we still have the beam saber, which I think I'll take it out for now. As usual, we still only get one beam saber. And then instead of the AMBAC boosters on the back, we actually get these things that look like shields. Now they kind of look like the Gundam Mark II shields, but they're not really. These are actually, not only they are boosters, but they also work as weapons. These are called the Booster Binder Cannon. And on the manual, it basically mentions that on the back, the booster binders on the back has been refurbished to a wire-type quasi-Sakyomu weapon, and the beam cannons can be fired remotely. So these are not only boosters, but there's also beam cannons on or inside these shield-looking things. Just I guess like how the Phoenix Gundam has like a blaster on the shield. And then other than that, let's see what we get. So first of all, as I mentioned, we get one beam saber hilt, and then the storing place is still the same, and then we still get the green beam saber effect part. We only get one, so nothing too big. Not a big deal. And then we get this. Now, despite how this looks like, this is actually a gattling bazooka. It's called the Beam Gattling Bazooka. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this on the promo pictures, and everybody was laughing or kind of making it sound like this is a silly weapon because there's the original Rick Dias head is there. I don't know. I mean, I say that's a pretty unique design, and I actually like it. The way how this attaches is kind of odd, but still, it doesn't really, it doesn't really rotate. I mean, it technically does move a bit, but this is actually for the locking mechanism. If you don't do it like this, this is how you plug it in, and you can see those tabs there. You put it in, you just plug the thing in, and then you twist it to lock it in place. And the Rick Dias head is actually the original, so you can actually open this up to reveal the Vulcans. And yeah, and the handle moves right over here. And believe it or not, there's actually a part where you can pull out, if I can. Yeah, we have this hook which is supposed to be able to hook on the back. Now this is not really mentioned in the manual, but I think you can still pull it off. And then here we have some leftover parts. So here we have some leftover polycaps, nothing too special. Here we have another leftover part from the original Rick Dias head, the red version. And then, now this is technically a leftover part, but you can still make the entire Clarity Bazooka. Now keep in mind, this is the old version, not the same one that you get as the HGUC Revive. So this is the literally slap two pieces together and you have the bazooka. So there's no moving handle, no ammo clip, or nothing like that. So we still get the original bazooka. And then here we have some sticker sheets. There's only, I believe, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 sticker sheets. 4, these yellow ones go onto the shield, which you actually see right over here. On here, and then the eyes, oddly enough, they're not the single piece, they're actually separate eye pieces, so you have to stick them individually. And then here we have this large one, which is actually the mono eye you actually see on the forehead. Alright, so let's get on to the review. So before we go into the articulation, here's some comparisons regarding the looks. So with the new improvements of the articulation, meaning that like mostly the joints, the new Build Gamma Gundam is actually slightly taller than the original Rick Dias, as far as I can tell. I believe the leg parts or the leg designs should be the same, but of course the knee armor design is slightly different. And then yeah, like the front skirt actually have slightly different like details going on here. The arms are obviously different because they're different parts, but they tried to keep the same original design regarding that. The shoulders are also different, much more. Well, I'm not sure if they're bigger, but still, I think they're actually smaller. But yeah, depending on how you look at it, head is obviously different. And the backpack, I believe the beam pistol section is mostly the same, so only the booster binders are one of the most different features regarding that as well. And yeah, definitely the Gamma Gundam has a more sleeker look as well. Alright, so I'm not gonna put this away because I need to show you guys the articulation differences when I get there. Okay, so let's start with the head. Now the head, like the original one, does not have much movement. I'm just gonna point that out. Here we have the head. Now it's not easy to see the eyes because the way how this is designed, it's really hard to look. But still, here we have the eyes. The eyes are separate separate stickers. Definitely, I do like this look. I mean, I always wondered, well, like, if the Rick Dias was actually made into like its original design or something. I always wondered what it would look like. I guess this would be as close as we get, or something like that. I know because there's always like an argument regarding the Rick Dias, whether it's considered to be a Gundam or not, but I don't want to get into that. So regarding the head, now it's the same connection, so it's on the peg, so there's no up and down movement, and then there's not much and you can't really go 360 because of the head size. You can see it's colliding with the armor or parts. And here we have that giant sticker, which I was mentioning, the mono eye on the forehead. So yeah, this thing is actually loaded with eyes / sensors. When if you consider the Rick Dias head, even consider the Rick Dias head that's on the gun. Okay, so and let's look at the body first. The body is still the same. Can't go 360 because due to the design. And keep it like always, the Rick Dias was never like meant to be like moving radically. And then here we have the beam pistols. These are still the same connection, which yeah, they're not the best connections, but still work enough. I'm just gonna take these out because they're always kind of on the wobbly side. And then here we have the shield binders on the back. Oh yeah, I think these are also additional thrusters, or no. This is, I believe the back search should be the same. Here we have the booster binders and such. These are actually connected to plastic ball joints, but they connect pretty easily. They come off easily and can plug in easily. But they're not loose. They actually connect pretty firmly, so that's a big bonus. And here we have the design. It's a real nice looking. If you just consider this to be like a shield, this is actually a pretty nice design. And here we have those yellow stickers, and then I believe this is where the beam cannon is supposed to be fired, and this is supposed to be like a quasi Psychomu weapon. So I assume this could also float around on its own, or maybe there's supposed to be wires around this thing. Who knows? But yeah, I do like this additional new design. Okay, and the shoulders should be the same, I believe. The shoulders can move forward and backward like that, and then we still have this typical 360 twist on the entire arm, 360 twist on the arm itself, and then if you remember, the original Rick Dias could only bend 90 degrees. This was as far as you go. This one is now able to bend more than that, double jointed bend. That is absolutely fantastic. Love it. I believe the hands are still the same because the Rick Dias, I believe, actually has bigger hands than a typical mobile suit, which is why we don't really see a new set of hands. We use the same hands, even with the moving trigger finger. Definitely one of the odd or unique hands in the Gunpla line, if you ask me. Okay, so body-wise, it's still the same as I mentioned. No ab crunch. The front skirts are separated pieces. They come in separated pieces, not the typical ones where you have to divide them later. And then the side skirts move a little bit, but barely moves. Back skirt does not move at all. And let's see, I believe the back skirt of the original Rick Dias, the inside was the same, pure brown, while this one actually has some color separation right over here on some red sections. And if also regarding the legs, the original Rick Dias should have just connected ball joints right over here as a connection, while this one, the Build Gamma Gundam, actually it's now a peg system. And then so we have a peg system. There is like a side swivel system going on, but it's not on the outside, it's actually on the inside, so that's definitely a big improvement. And as you can see, we have this swivel gimmick, well, not swivel, but still, you get the idea, right over here. So the legs can go to the side a little bit more than the original Rick Dias, so almost less than 90 degrees, but still a lot more than this. And I believe regarding the bend, the original Rick Dias could barely bend its leg. I mean, you just heard that, right? There was like these plastic noise going on, so it could barely bend. But now, the Build Gamma Gundam can now bend. Now, this is almost like a double jointed bend. It's just the armor that's colliding right over here, so I think it wasn't for this design, we could go even more. Or I could be wrong, but still, that's definitely much more, that's more of an articulation than the original Rick Dias. And I think that's pretty much it for the articulation, for comparison. So the feet I believe, are still the same bented feet, and then I believe this part should be the same. I'm just gonna check. Yeah, the way how these parts are connected should be the same, I believe. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the articulation. So I'm just gonna put this away. And since there's not much to show regarding weapons, I'm just gonna skip these weapons, because these are pretty much the way how you expect. You just plug them in, and you're good to go. Of course, like, keep in mind this is not the new version, so you're gonna have to wiggle your way through. So keep in mind that you have to move the trigger finger. Come on. To plug this in, and you're good to go. You have the clay bazooka. But keep in mind the clay bazooka was not actually mentioned in the manual, so this is technically a leftover piece. So I'm gonna take this out if I can. Come on. There we go. And then the beam pistols also, they can just plug in, but the problem is that these parts are going to collide with the arm, so they're always going to be wiggly and wobbly all the way. And obviously the beam sabers also work pretty well, but they're not the modern ones, so they're just going to be just hanging around on the hand. So you can see it's kind of wobbly, shaky, and it's going to pop out. So that's one thing that they did not improve regarding the kit. But hey, I would still love to see a 2.0, basically a revived version of the Rick Dias, just to see like what they could do with this. This is, as far as I can tell, a 1.5. Okay, but other than that, I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering how this works. And with the new articulation of the Build Gamma Gundam, this works absolutely fantastic. I would like to also mention that we have this hook right over here on the cannon, and it's not really mentioned what this hook does, but obviously if those who know the Hakushiki or anything that uses the clay bazooka knows that these can be stored on the back, and that's actually it. So it's not really mentioned in the manual, but you can still pull it off. Of course, being how long and heavy the weapon is, it's going to be on the tilted side. So yeah, I'm not gonna really recommend this. And because of how the hook design is, it doesn't really come off that easily. So I'm just gonna push this down. And the way how this works is that you have the first handle right over here, and then we have the second handle that moves around, which is actually for the other hand, and the head also moves on its own. So yeah. So you just need to plug the first handle in, and you're pretty much good to go. The good thing is that the handle is not on the middle, it's actually on the side, which is why we are able to not collide with the inside or inner parts of the kit. And then all you need to do is just, twist the arm 90 degrees, and since the handle can move a lot, we can do the double hand pose anytime we want. And there we go, we are holding the gattling bazooka with both hands. And all you need to do is just pretty much aim where you want to aim, and you're good to go. And that's pretty much it for the review. And I actually really personally like this kit. So if you actually like the Rick Dias design, or if you are wanting to have something like an updated Rick Dias, I say this is a really good addition. I mean, if you don't like the Build Gamma head, I guess you can always slap on the original Rick Dias. Heck, we do technically get the Rick Dias head, so you can just slap it on. So if you want to have like a white Rick Dias but with better articulation, this is your kit. And that's pretty much it for the review. So as I mentioned, this is a updated or slightly updated 1.5 version of the original Rick Dias with better arm and leg articulation, and with more extra design details here and there. Of course, keep in mind this is a Build Divers side story kit, so just keep that in mind. So as I mentioned, if you're a big fan of the Rick Dias or want something new, this is definitely one of those kits worthy of trying. And that's pretty much it for the review. This was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive HGUC Build Gamma Gundam. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build, make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.